We've all been there, right? Stuck in some argument that just goes nowhere, leaving you feeling totally frustrated and completely unheard. Well, today we're going to pull back the curtain on why that happens, and I'll even give you some simple tools to finally break that frustrating cycle.
You know exactly what I'm talking about. It feels like you're just talking past each other. You say your thing, they say their thing, over and over. And the whole time, that frustration is just building. It's like you're not getting anywhere, and you have no idea why.
Here's the secret. The key to getting unstuck is realizing that what we argue about on the surface is almost never the real issue. It's just like an iceberg. The real, powerful drivers of the conflict are all hidden deep down, beneath the water.
So let's start at the top, the part of the iceberg that everybody can see. This is where most of us waste all our time and energy, fighting over what are called topic goals.
So a topic goal is the thing you can literally point to. Who's going to take out the trash? Which movie are we watching? How are we spending the budget? It's tangible, it's out in the open. But honestly, it's usually the least important part of the whole puzzle.
In this distinction right here, this is so important. We usually get stuck on our position, what we say we want. I will not pay a penny more than $500. It's rigid, right? It's a dead end. But underneath that is a goal. I need to feel like I'm being financially responsible. Shifting your focus from the what to the why, well, that's the absolute first step to finding a real solution.
And that's exactly why we get stuck. When you have two rigid positions just smashing into each other, there's absolutely no room to move. It just becomes a battle of wills, a zero-sum game where someone has to lose. And to break that deadlock, you guessed it, you have to go deeper. Okay, so let's take a deep breath and dive below the surface. The very first hidden layer we come across is all about the us, the relationship between the people in the conflict. These are the relational goals.
So this is where we find out that so many arguments are not about the topic at all. They're about how we're being treated. The real questions being asked are, am I being heard here? Is my opinion valued? Are we actually equals in this? Just think about it this way. You think you're having a fight about where the sofa should go, but the real fight, the relational goal, is about one person feeling like their opinion doesn't even matter in the first place. Once you address that feeling of being dismissed, you unlock all this creative space where suddenly finding a place for the sofa becomes easy.
And this quote from former FBI hostage negotiator Chris Voss just hits the nail on the head. To deal with these relational goals, you don't actually have to agree with the other person. You just have to genuinely work to understand their perspective. The simple act of trying to understand, that's what starts to repair the connection.
All right, now we're going all the way down.
To the very deepest level, the bedrock of the entire iceberg. This is where we find our identity goals. And let me tell you, this is where conflicts get their real explosive power.
Identity goals are all about our fundamental sense of self. We have this deep, deep need to see ourselves and to have other people see us as competent, smart, and basically a good person. And when a conflict threatens that core identity, we will defend it with everything we've got.
Look at this masterful defense of an identity goal. An opponent attacks Lincoln's character, right? His identity as an honest man. And he doesn't get defensive, he doesn't get angry. He uses this brilliant self-deprecating humor to completely disarm the attack, project total confidence, and win over the entire crowd. He protected his identity just perfectly.
And this is how you know an identity goal has been hit. Those really strong emotions, anger, shame, fear, they are signals. They're a tool telling you that a core part of someone's self-worth feels like it's on the line. So don't ignore the emotion. Use it. It's a clue that tells you what's really at stake for them.
Okay, so we've mapped out the iceberg, we understand the topic, the relationship, the identity goals. So now what? How do we actually navigate these tricky waters? Well, that brings us to our last type of goal, and a really practical set of tools.
Process goals are simply about the how. How do you want to solve this? Does one person want to talk it out for hours while the other just wants to take a vote and be done with it? And this is almost always driven by those deeper goals. If your identity goal is to be seen as fair, you're going to want a process that feels just and equitable to everybody involved.
So here it is. Here's your toolkit. And this is borrowed from the world of high-stakes negotiation. Now, this isn't about sitting around and rehearsing your attacks. It's about calm, rigorous discovery. First, you have to listen with everything you've got. Then you label their feelings to show them you get it. And finally, you start asking these special how questions that invite them to solve the problem with you.
Labeling is an absolute superpower. You start with these gentle phrases like, it seems like, or it sounds like, and then you just name the emotion you're picking up on. This isn't about agreeing with them. It's about acknowledging their reality. It validates their feeling, makes them feel heard, and it just instantly lowers the emotional temperature in the room.
And these calibrated how questions, they are game changers. Instead of saying, you can't do that, which just starts another fight, you ask, how am I supposed to do that? You see what that does? It puts the other person into a problem-solving mode. You're actually asking for their help, and that completely transforms the entire dynamic of the conversation.
And that's really the whole idea in a nutshell. Stop wasting all your energy chipping away at the surface-level topic. The only way to get to a real, lasting solution is to understand the relational and identity needs that are driving the whole thing from deep down below. This is the unbreakable mindset you can bring to any conflict. When you know that your real, core goals are about protecting your identity and preserving your key relationships, you become unshakable. You can be flexible on the topic because you're secure in what truly, truly matters to you, the very bedrock of your resolve.
So the next time you feel that frustration, that feeling of just going in circles, I want you to pause and ask yourself this question. Stop looking at just the tip of the iceberg and find the courage to see what's really hiding beneath.